Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Rossi. Today we're going to create an American flag collage. All you will need today is a white piece of paper, some blue paper cut into a rectangle, and some red paper. I have mine cut into strips, but if you just have a red piece of paper, that will work too. We're going to need a pencil and we're going to need a glue stick. We're also going to need a white crayon today. I have a silver one. Silver, gray, or white will work just fine. Today we're going to make an American flag collage in honor of Election Day. This year we get to vote on the next President of the United States. So in honor of Election Day, we're going to collage our own flag. A collage is when you glue multiple pieces of paper together to create a picture. I'm going to start by grabbing my glue stick and putting some glue on the back of my blue rectangle. I'm going to go all the way around the edge and then put a little in the middle. I want to make sure I get those edges and those corners with my glue stick so I know they will stick on my paper and they won't lift up. I'm going to glue my blue rectangle onto my white piece of paper in the top left corner. I know it's the left corner because if I hold out my left hand, I will make an L, so I know this is going to be my left hand corner. Putting that right up in the top, I'm holding that blue paper so it is going long from left to right. It is horizontal, and I'm holding my white paper so it is horizontal like a flag, longest going left to right. Now that I'm done gluing that on, I'm going to wind my glue stick back down and put on the cap. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to draw the stripes on my flag. Now our stripes are horizontal, they go left to right, and they are going to go from our blue rectangle out to the other edge of our page. Now you can just draw these with your pencil, or if you want to take your red stripes of paper, you can trace them by holding them on your paper and following along the edge. Then you can line up the next one and do the same thing. I'm just going to draw the rest from the left side all the way to the right side, making horizontal lines. I'm leaving space in between my lines, so I have an area to fill those in with some red paper. I can only fit 7 sections on my paper. If you can fit more, that's okay, and if you can't fit as many, that is also okay. Yours does not have to look like mine. Now that we know where our stripes are going, I'm going to take one of my pieces of red paper and I'm going to start to tear it into small pieces to fill in this space. Now we're going to make a torn paper collage. So that means we're ripping the rest of our paper up and gluing it on to fill in the areas of color. Using torn paper instead of just gluing our stripes right on our flag will help add texture. Texture is the word we use to describe how something feels. So maybe something feels soft or it feels smooth. Maybe it feels rough and bumpy. By gluing on torn pieces of paper, we get fuzzy edges that will give us a different texture than just gluing on our plain stripes. So on my red paper, I am pinching with my thumb and my pointer fingers, and I am tearing and pulling in opposite directions. So this hand is moving towards me, and this hand is moving away. I want some small pieces so I can tear my paper a bunch of times. I'm going to do this all the way down my red piece of paper, tearing it by pinching and pulling away from each other to make small pieces that I can glue on. Flags are normally made out of fabric, which is a lot softer than paper, so I think tearing our paper like this is going to give it a texture that will remind us a little bit more of fabric that has been sewn together. Now that I have that one stripe ripped up, I can put this paper to the side and I can grab my glue stick once again, pull off that cap, twist it back up, and I'm going to fill in this first section from where that first pencil line is to the top of my paper with my glue stick. Now I'm going to stick my red paper inside this space. I want to try and keep it in between that section, so in between that pencil line and the edge of my page, and I'm just pressing on those torn pieces of paper to fill up that space. You might need to put a little bit of glue on top of some of your areas so you can layer your pieces of paper or add some pieces on top of others. It's easiest if you work in small sections so your glue won't dry quicker than you can put your paper on there. You might need to add a little bit more glue if your paper's having trouble sticking, and you're just going to fill in that whole first stripe. And now I have that whole first red stripe of my flag done. I'm going to skip this section because our American flag has red and white stripes. So I'm going to leave that one white and move on to the next one. I'm going to start to fill in this section with glue. I'm only adding glue in between those two pencil lines, and I can start placing my paper to make my next red stripe on the flag. Uh-oh, I ran out of my red pieces of paper. I'm going to grab another piece that I had cut into strips, and I'm going to tear it again, pinching with both hands and pulling. And then I can fill in that last section. You can decide if you want to leave a little bit of white space in your sections of red, or if you want to fully fill it in and try and layer and cover up as much as you can. It's up to you. Now, like before, I'm going to skip this section and I'm going to fill in the next one. Because again, we want red and white stripes. Our stripes are going to create a pattern. That means that they are going to repeat colors by going red, white, red, white. So the next one's going to be red, and then white, and then red again at the bottom. Now, if you have more stripes than I do, your pattern might keep going. And you might have another row of red and white stripes. Or maybe you have less rows of red and white stripes. Either way, you're going to keep ripping up that red paper and filling in your stripes until you have a completed American flag. So I skipped that white row, and now I can move on to another red one. And I'm placing on my paper one at a time. If I try and pick up a pile and push them all on at the same time, they're not going to stick very well, and we'd be wasting paper because we'd have a lot of paper layered in the same spot where we wouldn't really need it. So work slowly filling in your space one piece of paper at a time. And if you need to rip any papers to be smaller, you can always rip your bigger pieces into even tinier pieces to fit the spaces where you need them. Now I'm going to skip this last white row and make our final one on our page, from that pencil line down to the edge of our paper, a red stripe. Now that the red portion of my collage is finished, I can put that red paper to the side. I can wind down my glue stick and put the cap back on, making sure I press it on until I hear it click, so I know that it's closed and it won't dry out. We can add some stars in the blue section of our flag. Now you can draw stars however you would like. I think an easy way to draw stars is by doing a straight line down, then a horizontal line across, and then two diagonal lines. And we can make a bunch of stars in our blue section. Once you're done drawing your star with your pencil, you can grab your white crayon or your silver or your gray crayon and trace over it with your crayon so it's easier to see. You could also use a white colored pencil. If you don't have a crayon, that'll work too. So I'm going straight up and down, left to right, and then making an X. So I'm doing two diagonals. If you want to make a different kind of star, you can do that as well. If you have star stickers or any kinds of sequins or glitter that you want to use, you can use that also. Whatever you would like to add to your collage to bring it to life, you can. Now, normally the American flag has 50 stars for all the 50 states. You can try and fit 50 stars on your flag, or you can just see how many will fit and leave it like that. I don't know that I'll be able to fit 50. All right, I was able to fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 stars on my flag. And that is going to be my American flag collage all finished. So we added our torn paper red stripes to create texture. So if you feel that section of your flag, it's going to feel different than the white parts and the blue part. It's going to feel bumpy, it's going to feel soft around the edges, and it's going to be a little different than just regular paper. We also got to practice drawing some different kinds of stars in the blue section, and we were able to create an American flag to celebrate Election Day. Once you're finished with your project, you can take a picture of it and share it with me through email. I would love to see the artwork you've created at home. Try your best, have fun, and get creative. I'll see you soon. Bye!